I know what you're thinking. Jesus, Mr. 4K. You're gonna need a new warehouse. Actually, I need a warehouse, not the new one. I wish I had a warehouse. So let's try to go ahead and do some comparison between the Samsung Q8FN 55-inch QLED quantum dot television versus the OLED. And I'll try to do my best here in 20 minutes to give you my honest opinion. Okay, just remember one thing, and this is the important part. This is still liquid crystal display, LCD. It's just that it's using the little microscopic crystals called photons, quantum dots. And when you shine the light on these photons, on these quantum dot crystals, they spread a much higher color accuracy. They spread much wider spectrum of colors. But you still have liquid crystal display behind it. Okay? So remember that. On the OLED over here, there is no liquid crystal display. There's only organic light emitting diodes. It's all in there, and it's emitting by itself. And I'll talk about that as we go through these comparisons. All right, I'll talk about the positives, I'll talk about the negatives, I'll give you my settings. So I know this is kind of ghetto, but it is what it is. Remember, you're not paying for this video. This is free. I'm just trying to give you my honest opinions. That's what this is about. I'm not sponsored. I don't have any fancy cameras and studios. I'm just trying to do my best here, try to give you my honest opinion. All right? It is what it is. Love it or hate it, this is the video. I hope you enjoy it. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's do this. I know, guys, I wish I had more space, but this is the best I can do right now currently. Because I cannot do it from my office, because my office, it's kind of like, it's hard to position my camera with all the equipment that I have in the office. So this is like the best I can do. So I hope you appreciate this for what it is. All right, so this is QLED right now, and it's a 55-inch 2018 Q8FN model. It has quantum dots. I already explained. The quantum dots are the little tiny crystals. When you shine the light, high peak brightness light, which this television has, a very high peak brightness, which is a 1500 nits of lumens light of peak brightness, that light illuminates into those crystals, and then you get a much higher color accuracy. You get much wider spectrum of colors. However, what you don't get is you don't get that contrast ratio that the OLED has, because the OLED doesn't have any LCD or any LED backlights. It's all organic light emitting by every and each diode on every and each pixel. Okay, so I hope this doesn't confuse you, and if it does, you know, maybe I should do a Q&A and just have you guys ask me questions about the OLED and how does it work. But first thing first, let's jump into the game. I'm sorry for this long intro. All right, so I want everybody to understand how this is going to work in the next some 10 minutes that I'm going to do this. First thing first is that I'm going to show you what I'm using, what type of settings I'm using on the QLED, and then we're going to use the same exact level, same exact gameplay, and we're going to compare it to the OLED. And I'm going to try to edit the video, put it together so you can see the difference between the OLED and the QLED. So that's what we're going to do. But first, let's jump into a picture settings. Let's get close over here. Right over here. I think this is a good spot right here, because there's a little bit of darkness and shadows. Listen, let me tell you something before we start. QLED, it's a excellent television from Samsung. As far as the liquid crystal display, they really have the best possible local dimming that you can get currently right now on a television, okay? Especially if you have the Q9O, the new Q9 series, the 2019 model series, if you have that. A friend of mine in Magnolia, he was just showing me the Q9, and the local dimming on the Q9, it's really good. So you're not going to go wrong if you go with a QLED, okay? You're not going to be like disappointed that you went with a QLED. All right, so having said that, let's start with the settings. All right, so first thing first, guys, it has to be on the game mode. Make sure you use the game mode. Also, make sure you go to the expert settings and check your adjustments of the picture settings. Remember, expert settings is where you can adjust your backlit, your brightness, your contrast, your sharpness, and your color, and everything else. Okay? Now, if you want to utilize the game mode, you have to go to the general. I think I mentioned this plenty of times. You go to the general and you go to the external device manager. You click on it, and from there you go to the game mode settings, and from there you can get your game mode and get your FreeSync turned on. This is Xbox One X. It supports the FreeSync and it supports the game mode. So you're really getting the best of the both worlds in terms of low latency. So this television, it's almost like it's made for the Xbox One X, in other words. So let's jump onto the settings. All right, it doesn't matter what TV are you using. As long as it has HDR, I don't care if it's OLED, QLED, Z9D, Z9F, I don't care. You have to have your backlit and you have to have your contrast set to maximum. On any HDR content, you have to have backlit and contrast set to maximum. That is the only way you can take the advantage of the HDR effect. Otherwise, you're not going to take any advantage of HDR. So you have to have backlit and contrast set to maximum. This should be self-explanatory by now. Brightness, I always like to keep my brightness in the middle, in the threshold, because I want a balanced dark, black digital levels. I don't want them to be crushed. I want them to be in the medium. And leaving the brightness at 0, in my opinion, it's the best option. Sharpness, this is my personal choice. I know that majority of professionals and majority of calibrators will tell you to keep it at 0, and I don't disagree. I am not disagreeing with them. I agree with them. It should be left at 0, especially when it comes to 4K content. I agree. But I feel, to me personally, on this 55-inch, leaving the sharpness at 6 seems to be more feasible option. To me, personally. And if you don't like the 6, you can move it to 0. Guys, this is personal preference. If you don't, you can try the 6. If you don't like the 6, move it to 0, man. But you should at least try it. And if you don't like it, move it to 0. That's what I would recommend. Moving on to the color. Color, remember guys, you already have quantum dots here. You already got those crystals, those photons. They're spreading that best possible color accuracy, spectrum of colors. So there's no point of you moving that color up. All you're going to be doing, it's bleeding the color if you move the color higher than 25. 25 is a threshold, it's the middle, and that's where the color should be. Okay? Motion Plus and Digital Clean View, you already got the FreeSync, you already got the game mode, low latency. No reason for you to use this sucker. Local dimming, you want to use it at high because that's the whole point. You want to get the best possible local dimming on this LCD LED quantum dot display. Contrast enhancer, you want to use the contrast enhancer to high so you can have that best possible contrast between your black digital levels and your white digital levels. Color tone, guys, you know how I feel about the color tone. Keep it in the middle, standard. Avoid warm and avoid too cold blue, because the warm, it's only good for watching movies. If you're watching movies, you can keep it at warm. If you're watching sports, then you can use the cool. But when it comes to video games, keep it at standard. That's what I recommend. And gamma, don't mess with your gamma. I've seen people move gamma and move it way down. Why are you doing that? You're crushing your black digital levels. Why are you doing that? Okay? Don't watch those other videos out there, man. They don't know what they're doing. They're crushing the detail of the black digital levels. The black canvas is just important as it is the white canvas of digital levels. You want to keep them balanced. That's what these professional calibrators are looking for. They're looking for a balance, picture quality, so you can have a nice natural picture quality. This is my own preference. I like to keep my color space at native. Majority of professional calibrators will tell me, dude, leave it in automatic. And I understand that point of view. But me personally, I want to squeeze every ounce of that photon quantum dot crystals, little mini microscopic crystals. I want to get the best possible color accuracy. That's why you got the QLED. So I keep it at native. So that's pretty much what I'm using. Now, let's do some comparisons, shall we? All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to keep it like this, and I'm going to switch to the OLED really quick, and we're going to look at the OLED. We're going to look see how the OLED looks. This is the QLED from an angle, and I'm going to go and switch to the OLED from an angle as well. And then you guys can determine for yourself in about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the OLED right here. Now, the one significance about the OLED is, remember guys, there's no crystal crystal display here. All right, there's no LCD, liquid crystal display. It's not present on organic light emitting diodes. Every and each pixel here, it's emitting by itself. 8.3 million pixels, they're emitting by itself. So you're getting the best possible black digital levels. You're getting the best possible contrast ratio. However, the one thing that's missing is peak brightness that the QLED brings to a more vibrant color. Okay? I hope you guys are, I hope you guys are staying with me on this. All right, so I'm going to switch back to QLED in about 4 seconds, actually 3 seconds. And let's switch back to QLED. 1, 2, 3. So here we are with a QLED. Now, the first thing you're going to notice that it's a bit brighter. That's because when you're looking from an angle on QLED, you still get a little bit of that bright light. Because remember, it's using a light, a backlit. It's using a backlit. And those LEDs, they have to go through somewhere. The light has to go and escape through somewhere. Okay? It doesn't matter how many local dimming zones you put, you can't achieve what the OLED can achieve right above it here. Okay? You can't achieve that type of contrast ratio accuracy in terms of black digital levels. However, having said that, for a liquid crystal display LCD LED backlit, this is pretty top notch for an LCD quantum dot television. Okay, so it's not bad. What I'm trying to say is this is probably the best that you can get out of the LCD. I know the newer models are even better. If you go with the Q9 OR, if you go with their 8K television, they got even more local dimming. So it's all a personal preference, guys. How much does it matter? But however, the one thing that's present here is higher peak brightness. And you're going to see that as I move around. You're going to just appreciate that peak brightness even better here. Look at that peak brightness. That's something that you're not going to pretty much see with a OLED, because the OLED, it's not the brightest TV there is. Okay, that's the one negative that the OLED has. It doesn't have that peak brightness. Okay, while here on this television, you got that peak brightness, you got that necessary peak brightness. But however, you got to ask yourself what's important to you. All right, another thing you're getting here, it's a FreeSync. You're getting a FreeSync, and you're getting a low latency game mode. So guess what? It's going to run better. It's going to run faster on the on the QLED. All right. While on the OLED, you're still going to have 23, millisecond response time, but that's still not bad for the OLED. However, the one thing you're getting here, it's a two double whammies. You're getting a higher peak brightness with a much better color accuracy, and you are getting a much better low latency for the performance, for the gaming performance with the FreeSync. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna pause right here, and in about 4 seconds I'm gonna go back to the OLED. Okay, so in about 4 seconds I'm going to switch to the OLED. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we are with the OLED. Now, the first thing you notice about the OLED is that it's not the brightest TV. It doesn't have that peak brightness. But you know what? If you're not living in a very lit up room, then it's not going to make much of a difference, okay? This only matters if you live in a very, very lit up room. Then I don't think you're going to appreciate the fact that it's not the brightest TV, okay? But if you live in a semi, decent lit up room, I guess you're going to be okay. However, we have to talk about something that's important here. The picture quality that the OLED brings out to a content, to a video game like this, you really see in a much better redefined detail. Because remember, there is no light emitting behind this television. There's nothing behind this television. The light it's emitting by every and each individual organic light emitting diode, meaning every and each 8.3 million pixels it's emitting by itself. There's no liquid crystal display. There's no LED light behind it. Thus far, you have the best possible viewing angle. But the question is, how important is that to you? Okay? So let's switch back to QLED really quick. 1, 2, and 3. So here we are on the QLED, and right away, immediately, you notice that the QLED is much brighter. However, the one thing that's missing on the QLED is the viewing angles. Now, how important are those viewing angles to you? I cannot answer that question for you. Okay? I can only tell you what you are getting with QLED versus OLED. That's what I only can tell you. Now, I personally prefer OLED. That's my choice. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy the QLED just because I prefer the OLED. Like I said, the one benefit here is a much better performance with the FreeSync and the game mode. It has a low latency game mode implemented on it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this little short comparison. I have more videos coming on Gears 5. Please bear with me. I know this is not the best comparison, but I hope you enjoyed it. Okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on next video. Cheers. Take care. Have a good one, though.